Welcome to another episode of Tangled Rights. My name is Shane D. Cox, and this is Justin.
No, I'm not Justin. No, I sit over there. Normally, I've been let out of the cage today.
This is Austin, who we are always yelling at. I don't know if everybody knows who he is or not, but
maybe not.
We always have to look at his face. So Justin is out of town, left to go home to Kansas, where he's also licensed as an attorney. Is
he practicing law right now?
He was supposed to have a trial today. Maybe he dealt it because he called me earlier.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I didn't ask about that. We just always got a lot of things going on. So
very busy.
Yeah, I've been covering for Justin criminal court all week, and Austin's stepping in as our podcast co-host.
Yeah.
The only time that Justin hasn't been here, year and a half that we've been doing this, over a year and a half, almost 2 years now. So
yeah, usually we'll just plan around him being gone.
Yeah. And he's gone more than me, right? Who would you say has gone more?
Justin. Because he's licensed in Kansas, so he's going out there, not all the time, but more than you are to practice.
All right. Well, this is not intended to be legal advice. Austin's not an attorney. Don't take any legal advice from him.
Any of the guys say seriously.
Ever. I am an attorney in Nevada, but this is not intended to create a lawyer-client relationship by what we say. But we do discuss some legal cases, and Austin might have some questions today, so we'll see how on the spot I am in answering questions, but want to keep our typical subject matter that we talk about.
Yeah, I'm going to serve as the layman today and asking questions of like, what does that mean?
You're a layman. That's why I
exactly.
All right, so our first thing we want to talk about is something that I guess crosses over with both of us.
Yeah.
It has to do with a recent local story, and always the news comes out with something and it feels like it's a big thing, at least momentarily. A Green Valley High School teacher, which is in Henderson, Nevada, which coincidentally is the high school that I went to for 4 years and am a proud graduate of.
When did you graduate?
2005. So long before this man worked there. He's younger than me.
Yeah, he's only 35, so.
He's younger than me. A Green Valley High School theater teacher has been accused of sexual assault on a student, and that student is pregnant. And she claims that it is his child that she is pregnant with. So he has been arrested and in the Henderson Detention Center right now.
Is that why he has
charges.
Stripes on his jumpsuit?
So yeah, that's a good, astute analysis. It's interesting when you go into any kind of court, there's different jumpsuits based on which jail you come from. It could be colors, it could be stripes.
Right.
Henderson Detention Center, it could be all red. There could be colors based on if you're being separated from other people. So, and then some people have charges in multiple jurisdictions too. They're in custody in one place, like you could be in custody on a charge in Las Vegas Justice Court, but they transport you to your Henderson court hearing because you have a right to be there. And then even there's people who are in the prison system and they have like a different shade of blue that they wear.
Oh.
And then they get transported sometimes on cases. So as attorneys, we kind of know because we've seen these guys.
Go, oh, look, we got a Fed in today.
Yeah. And then some guys get arrested and they're just like, you'll go into DUI court on a Monday and somebody will be appearing and they're just like wear their normal clothes. They haven't changed out and gotten into their other clothes yet. So some people will be in normal clothes. So that is an interesting thing. Sometimes they're all wearing different clothes. Sometimes it's very uniform. They're all wearing the same thing. And then I think North Las Vegas is orange, if I remember correctly. I was there this week, so I should know.
I wouldn't know, thankfully.
But yeah, red. Henderson's always red. Which
because his is like, it's almost like Blue's Clues stripes, but just pink.
It looks like it could just be a polo he's wearing, but no,
he's because I saw a video of him and because I had to verify, and yeah, he's in a jumpsuit.
All right, so what was his name? What's his name, Austin?
Anthony Cofield.
Anthony Cofield. Okay, so 35 years old. This girl was about to graduate. I think she's a senior, so 17 or 18.
So they said that that like there was text messages between them, and he basically said like, "What are you willing to do to graduate?" Or like that's how the conversation went. And then he got pictures sent to him.
That's what the reports are.
Yeah.
So
that's what started it.
Age of consent in Nevada is younger than that. Okay. But
what is the age of consent?
The whole idea of anything statutory rape is that kids are too young and don't have the right mindset to be able to know that what they're agreeing to, because there is a certain point that you could have sex with an 80-year-old, 70-year-old, person way older than you. So the law changes based on age. Sometimes it's only, 2-3 years older than you if you're below the age of consent in a state.
Okay.
But the idea is that you don't know what you're agreeing to. And so many states, including Nevada, and why this is a crime, is because he is her teacher. So he has an influence over her. So it's not automatic based on her age, okay? But it is because of the relationship between the two of them. So even if it was consensual, which it sounds like there's going to be an argument that it might not have even been consensual. If you're saying, I hadn't read that yet, but that there's some undue influence, there's some pressure and some forcing her to do this for graduation, then that could just be its own separate element, not per se sexual assault based on her age, but actually, just sex assault.
It's graphic. What I'm reading now from 8 News is pretty horrendous. I don't think there's going to be any argument for consent.
Yeah, well, and I'm going to guess he's not going to be able to afford a private attorney. I think the public defender was on the case already. So, as a teacher, I'm saying we underpaid teachers. But maybe this guy shouldn't have been paid anymore. Like they did, yes. Some do make pretty decent. I've seen some salaries of them.
Yeah, because I know when George, who's produced the show for me occasionally, when he started, I think he was making like $38,000 a year. But he said if he went back right now, he'd be making like 50, 60.
Yeah, and then if you have a master's degree or postgraduate degree, it could be more. Your time in could be more. I've heard of some getting up, 80, close to $100,000 for a teacher. So it depends, of course. So you knew this guy somehow. So tell us about that.
So I want to preface with worked somewhat with, I don't know him that well. And
best friends.
No, definitely not. This was actually at the point of recording this almost 10 years ago at this point. I was working as a talent buyer for a production company out here that does concerts, a lot of big shows downtown and festivals out here. And he was working with that production company as well. I remember running into him a couple of times. Never really talked to him, but definitely worked at events with him. And when I saw him, I had to I wasn't sure. And then I looked him up on Facebook, and then sure enough, all the same mutuals from that company.
Okay.
And and then I saw, I looked into, I don't have to worry about it. I'm not an attorney or anything. I can look on Facebook. I saw that he listed that, he worked at that place. I was like, that's the guy. But it's crazy because you never know who you're working with or who you know or who you think you know.
And people on a very limited basis, and a lot have a front of who they think they should be. Like even you could have a good friend that you don't know. Like there's couples all the time that are married and they're get divorced and I didn't even really know my spouse at all, even though they're married. So I'm not saying that this person or any ties to you, or hopefully nobody thinks less of me because I went to Green Valley. I saw that he was a graduate of Chaparral High School, so I mentioned that to a certain employee of ours who went there as well. So
Chaparral,
Chaparral.
I remember I had a teacher in high school who was like, if you ever ask a cop how do you get from Chaparral to the freeway, they go, no one's ever made it.
Oh, that's not that bad.
So what I want to know is, it was the pro tem judge, Holly Stobersky. I don't know any judges.
Holly Stobersky. I had her as a pro tem this week too.
Oh, okay, so
because a lot were out for Thanksgiving, and so you get those. Okay. We've talked about pro tem judges. They're just sitting in for a day, like the one who peed herself in Arizona that we talked about. Yeah, that one. So she was sitting in she didn't want to set bail on such a serious charge is where I think you're going.
Yeah.
So
she said due to the sexual assault charges, because he's facing 2 counts of sexual assault and 1 charge of what you were talking about, a school employee engaging in a sex act with a pupil 16 or older.
Sure. Yeah.
So why would she, I kind of understand, but break it down. Why would she deny bail based on these charges?
So you're entitled to a bail hearing within a certain amount of time, okay, unless that's waived by the defendant. Usually the defendant wants to get bail set sooner rather than later.
Right.
And they get one like big hearing about it because charges kind of have automatic like bail amounts. Okay.
Like a DUI or something? Or?
Like a DUI, yeah.
Okay.
If it's like most of them have ranges, right? Here in Nevada, and that's pretty consistent throughout states because you determine, hey, how serious is this charge? How much should bail be on a murder? It has to be reviewed, depending on a DUI, $1,000, something like that. You know? So on sex assault charges, very serious, extremely serious.
Yeah.
These accusations are extremely serious. He may not get bail. So they did set a bail hearing for December 8th. I saw, maybe you're getting to, and that'll go in front of the regular judge, who's Judge DiGiacomo. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Because she denied setting bail, is what this says.
And my understanding of, and I read the news reports, and sometimes there's a little bit lost in translation there. So I'm not there to hear it, but I'm just guessing that she wasn't ready to address bail, and the defense attorney gets appointed usually at that first hearing. So they've never talked to the guy before. So they don't have all the details. Gotcha. They kind of know what they're accused of. But when we get into it, when the public defender specifically, okay, they get appointed there. It's not like they get appointed beforehand. They get appointed right then and there at like the first hearing that they have. So then they'll want time. Hey, you're facing pretty serious charges. Is there anything I can say at this bail hearing?
Yeah. Did you do it?
No, and not so much that. It's
you got the murder weapon on you?
Is there any history? Like, is he a danger to the public? Is he from the state? That's a big consideration. Or is he just somebody that's going to get up and go and leave?
Like that one guy who fled to Abu Dhabi or whatever?
Yeah, try and evade charges. Yeah, that was after he got convicted. But
okay.
that is a consideration. Their ties to the community. Okay, so if they have a wife, kids, mom, dad, brother, sister, all in Las Vegas, less likely that they'd just get up and go. So
there's context to this.
So you always want to go in, as a defense attorney, you always want to go into a bail hearing, and we call them Valdez-Jimenez hearings because it's based on a case, Mr. Valdez-Jimenez, right? So we always want to go in on such serious charges. You get one shot to get it as low as possible, as you can, because potentially you could be held out without bail, without the possibility of bail. There are a few select figures who do not get the opportunity to even get bailed out, right?
Luigi Mangione?
Murder. Like
capital murder, stuff like that.
Capital murder one, sex assault, like very serious charges.
That you could easily go recommit if they let you out?
Yeah. Or you're just a danger. Like,
gotcha. They don't even want to take the risk.
And it is consideration of what the charge is, because if you're facing life, like this guy could be facing life. The max punishment for his crimes is life. Don't let them get out and do something stupid like hurting themselves to get away. Because some people see that as an escape. They're not really punished if they don't go through a trial and get found guilty of a jury of their peers, and the victim doesn't get a voice, their emotions and feelings at a sentencing, to kind of let that out and let their voice be heard. So some people think that that's the easy way out if they were to go home and commit, what do we call it on TikTok?
Unaliving?
Unaliving themselves, or potentially hurting other people in the process.
Right, being like, well, now I got to really do something.
We talked about a case, I can't remember, I think it was Arkansas, where there was a dad whose daughter was being sexually assaulted by a man in the community, and he was let out on bail, and then had kidnapped the daughter again. Remember that? And then the dad killed him.
Yeah, the dad shot him out in a ditch that he found him on.
Yeah. And then that guy's, the dad's running for sheriff now in that town too.
He's probably going to get it.
I don't know if I don't think he's going to be convicted.
So my question now is how quickly these arrests happen. Obviously you're not a police officer, but they said that She had a positive pregnancy test in June, and then DNA test results from her clothes returned on November 24th, and they arrested him 2 days later.
Yeah, so I don't know what's happening in the background, if she's telling her parents who it really is, or she's hiding the pregnancy potentially.
Well, she believes she had a miscarriage. So it sounds like she doesn't have the. Let me make sure I have an up-to-date one.
I don't know.
This was 2 days ago, which I guess.
They did find DNA in her underwear,
yes,
right?
Well, I just didn't want to say that.
Not just clothes, but in her.
Yeah, of him, though. They found his DNA.
His DNA in her underpants.
Yeah.
I want to be straightforward with facts because they matter in cases like this.
Sure. They arrested him on the 26th, which was that Thanksgiving?
November, I think 27th was. So I think it was the day before. I don't know.
So he had a jail Thanksgiving?
Listen, man.
Food?
Like,
I get it. Like,
if these accusations are true, that's exactly what he deserves for the rest of his life. Like,
the comments are. I don't know if you ever read the comments on like Facebook posts about these.
I try not to.
I try not to either, but sometimes I'm just like, all right, and everyone's
they're very accusatory and very rushed to judgment, which I'm doing as well. But the evidence looks bad. I give the opportunity to my clients. This guy's not going to be my client. I'm,
yeah. So he
99% confident. But
to your point earlier, he did say when they were having the discussion. I think for the bail hearing, he was saying that he's worried about his own mental health and mental state. So that's probably why they did. Would it also be because she's pro tem and she wants the actual judge who's going to probably sit over it?
That is a consideration. That's what we kind of always say a lot is there's hearings. This one's a new hearing. So the pro tem judge could have done whatever she wanted. But sometimes you get a pro tem that comes in or senior judge and it's like, this is a big decision that we've been preparing for in anticipation of this judge having prior rulings on this case. When is she back? Can we kick it, to the time when she's back to hear the case? And sometimes both parties will agree to it because the judge will be like, this is a lot to wrap my head around. Like, unless it's a stipulated sentence for me to just say, if we're going to argue about sentence and we have a judge who comes in, and there are certain judges who come in as pro tems that were like, we do not want him doing sentencing because things are going to go poorly. So let's hold off.
You as the attorney, that's part of your job is to navigate having a pro tem judge potentially.
Yep. So we want to know. And
can you request a new judge? Like, do you have that? Can the prosecutor?
No.
Is it you get dealt whatever hand you're dealt?
Well, this goes into, we've had this other interesting case this week that we got in on and were able to close out that had been going on for 5 years. I sent you a video. I don't know if you watched that clip.
I did not get a chance to, but I don't.
Yeah, he makes promises that he doesn't keep.
Oh my God. But I'm here right now.
I get to face him head on and tell him you're failing at your job, Austin. So we had this case that we had been going on, and a lot of people in the comments have called the co-defendant a sovereign citizen or Savi or whatever.
So this video that I'm looking at, this guy.
Which one?
This guy is who we're talking about.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So you can file a motion to disqualify a judge here in Clark County.
Okay.
And I was in a case recently where one of the defendants had done that, and he had filed it numerous times. And it goes up to, here in Clark County at least, it goes up to the chief judge. And the chief judge looks at why and then gets to decide, is there any bias? Is there anything wrong in this?
Gotcha. Okay.
So you can say yes or no. Typically, those are not getting granted. Like, just not.
It has to be like a crazy.
It has to be crazy
situation. Okay.
The only time, in all the cases we've ever talked about, the only time that it ever happened was we had that Young Thug YSL trial. You remember that?
Yes.
And the judge had a conference with a witness and the prosecution and didn't tell the defense attorney about it.
Yes.
So they filed it for that, and that was granted. Well, I think he decided to step down and said, okay, yeah, I agree. So that's the only time I've seen it across all of the cases we have ever talked about, because the judge did something demonstrably wrong there. You can't have a conference with a witness and the prosecution without the defendant present. The prosecution can have that with the witness, not with the judge there telling him to make sure to come and testify, especially when it's a witness that wouldn't help the defendant. That was egregious. So something like that, yeah, if you have proof of it, bring that forward and you could get that judge struck. Normally, no.
No, okay.
If you have a tough judge, you have a tough judge.
So is that something that, like, let's just say I have a case and you're like, hey, you know, this judge is going to be really harsh on you for this crime, this charge.
Yep.
And
that is something we talk, and that's a question a lot of people have, like, how is this judge with this? And it's like, most of them, you're one of hundreds of cases, you know, and you don't have a serious crime that's going to stand out. But in the instances that it matters on certain kinds of crimes, you know, where there's a victim that got harmed in some way, like a legitimate victim that has physical injury or serious emotional injury, it might matter, and it might depend on what kind of crime it is. There's judges that have certain, you know, things that hit them a little bit differently, and sometimes you don't know. Sometimes, I mean, they always say, hey, don't be a late morning. Don't go in front of the judge in the late morning if you have a questionable case, because then they're hungry and they're angrier, right? Hit them after lunch.
Like when we went, we had like bright and early.
Yeah.
When we did my case, which wasn't even a case, but yeah,
kind of. So that's what's going on in my alma mater. Apparently, there's some issues there.
Do you have anybody famous go to Green Valley? Because I went to Cheyenne and we had Neo.
Besides myself?
Well, yeah, of course. You're the prime example of.
I don't know. I can't think of anybody. I'll take a look and we'll talk about it later.
We know though that there is at least one famous person out of there, and they're sitting in this room. So there were some fringe presidential player. Well, I mean, this guy might be famous.
Sports stars. This guy's going to be famous for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, not for good reasons, but he might.
Connor Fields.
Who's
He's
Connor
a
Fields?
Gold medalist in Olympic BMX.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Green Valley High School. It's listed right there.
Yeah, Connor Fields. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I remember we had Neo, and because Neo went to LVA and they kicked him out. But LVA, I remember in middle school, LVA came and talked to us, and they were like, Neo said it set him up for success, and then you find out he went there like freshman year.
Oh, all right.
And they kicked him out, and then he went to Cheyenne.
Okay. Well, if it works for him, I'm excited for him. All right. Are you done with this?
Yeah.
Moving on to something way fun. I showed you this video right here, right before we started. I will clip it in.
The rocker barrel that you thought wasn't, like I said before, it was actually a child.
Really?
So you struck a child in a crosswalk.
Really?
When do we start making older people have to retake driving tests?
I say this driving all the time. Like,
obviously we're young people, and
me more so than you, but yeah.
Whoa. Okay. What age is it where what we just watched is just unacceptable? Like 89 years old is this lady.
What do you have to do at 89 that you're driving?
Why is there nobody who takes care of her?
Yeah, do you not have anybody in your life that, like my grandmother right now, who's actually my only grandmother left now at this point, lost 3 grandparents in a year, but she has a car, but will take every opportunity to not drive. And I think that's how it should be.
Oh man.
Like she'll only drive, like, she won't drive at nighttime. She'll only drive if it's within like a few miles of her house.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so she's responsible. But if she wants to go somewhere at night and like I can drive her or my mom can drive her, yeah, she's all for it. But I think you should have to every few years starting at like 60.
60, that's young. How old's your dad?
55?
I'd put it older than that.
70 maybe? I think, okay, maybe at like 70, it's at a point where it's like, because I guess you could still, because retirement age is what, 65 on average?
65.
So I guess maybe 70.
Okay.
Then at that point, it's like, okay, are you working? No. But I guess at 60, you could still potentially be working. So.
Yeah. No, definitely they'll still be working. So she's from, I don't know how you say this, Cudahy, which is just south of Milwaukee, right by where the airport is. I want you to clip in her mugshot as well, because it's just looks like an old lady that's like might not know where she is what I would say that this video is.
Is it
her name is Darlene.
Oh my
Adam.
God. I didn't even, because I heard the video when you played it earlier, but I'm seeing her now, and
It looks like she's got a members only jacket, which I think back in the day when you turned 50, you had to be issued a members only jacket.
what is that?
You don't know what a members only
No.
jacket is? Wow. This is a divide right here that we're just the age divide. A members only jacket. I need you to just Google that and look at what a members only jacket is.
I know what they look like, but I don't know what the reasoning behind it
No,
is.
it's just was a jacket that everybody had. Like, I don't know. My dad had one. He's an old guy.
It's just a bomber, basically.
It's just a bomber jacket. That's what she's wearing. She's wearing like a tan one, which is
Right,
just, looks like it's straight from the 60s or 70s.
Right, but you're saying that they had to be, like, you were given that at 50? Like,
yeah. I mean, they must have been because everybody had one.
Okay.
That's
all
what
right.
I'm saying.
I thought you meant like, oh, you were in like a club or something, and it was just like,
no, members
congrats,
only.
you made it. Okay.
So, I don't know if you heard the audio. She believed that she had hit a rock or a barrel, and it was actually a child. There's no information about if the child is okay. The only charge is that it was a hit and run causing injury. So there is some sort of injury. There's no mention of death. Usually victims are kind of protected in the beginning stages of cases. So there's not going to be a release about what this little girl, I think it might have been a girl, what this little kid's name is.
Sorry, the comments are like perfect age for Congress.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious.
Some people are saying 70. One person said after 75 you should have to, I was going to say every like 5 years, but this person said every year you should have to test to drive.
I guess they do have this little girl's name out. Lency, Lenci, Lency Lambert. She was hit by a car who ran. So an old lady, and I can only imagine like an Oldsmobile being driven. That's the only vehicle that is appropriate for me to kind of envision in this.
What did your grandparents drive? They have an Oldsmobile?
I have a grandma that's alive still.
Oh, what does she drive?
I don't know if she drives much. And my parents just are buying a house. I think they're closing today or tomorrow.
Huh?
Right by her. I think she had a RAV4 last I knew.
That's a cool car.
Which is RAV4s are not cool cars.
For a grandma, it's a cool car.
No,
I almost bought a RAV4.
Cool cars.
My grandma has a Chevy. What does that mean? My grandmother has a Chevy Spark, and I think that's a good grandma car. Because like you can't do much damage in that thing. I had to drive one when I worked for the gas company. That was like my work vehicle.
Yeah. All right. Well, this happened just November 1st or something like that. So right after Halloween, body cam footage came out, and you see this where I don't think the lady knows. I believe her that.
So at that age, like, what do you? Because like obviously, sure, prison is like a thing.
Oh yeah, let's put her under the jail, bro.
But like at 89, like, do you just let them go home? But you just like, okay, we take your license. You cannot drive anymore.
So
you maybe have to pay a fine.
I became aware of a situation near me, and I won't say who the involved parties are, but there were some kids driving erratically, kids kind of being goofy on a car. One kid fell off, got hurt. Okay. Oh. And the kid's family who got hurt were just begging the prosecutor not to like pursue much of anything against the driver of the vehicle. Okay.
Okay. Who was also a younger?
Who was also, 18, 19 years old. Okay. And the prosecutor was a hard-headed type who refused to do it, right? Like he wanted to get what he thought was justice in the case. So while I think in a lot of cases the victim's opinions matter, it doesn't have to. Okay? So sometimes I think the victim's family, they'll look at her and be like, hey, like, maybe take her license or something. Yeah. If that's within the realm of possibilities.
What if they are like, we are pursuing death penalty on this? Even that's not a thing, but
I'm sure that they might, try and get money out of it on the civil side of things.
Sure. I guess because
they can do that. But then the criminal side of things.
One of your kids is ran over by Gertrude, who's 89.
I have a kid who turns 9 real soon, I guess.
Right.
And my first instinct, if my kid got hit by a car, would be like, he must have ran out in the road. which is not the case here. Like this, this doesn't look like that'd be my first. Just my instinct is, oh man, this little kid like was being an idiot, and not obeying his mom, like, and so he ran out in the road and got hit by a car. If I learned it was an 89-year-old woman, it would completely change things. If it was a young kid being an idiot and hit my kid.
Would you like look at her investment portfolio first, her real estate, and be like, maybe we can.
No, I mean, I'm looking really at the human side of things.
Right.
I don't think this lady knew what she was doing.
I feel like that makes it worse. That makes me more.
That's scary. Angry. Yeah, because she didn't. I mean, there's the joke from The Office that when Michael from The Office says that he hit a speed bump on the freeway, and people are like, we wonder what that really was. This lady thinks that she hit, a barrel or something. Didn't know it was a kid. Maybe she's just a pathological liar and just like really honed in because old people can still be liars. And if she's cheating death this long, she's 89 years old. Maybe. And she's got nobody to drive her around. But some old ladies like want to be independent and want to do things on their own.
But also I think it's like the joke where you see a guy in like his 40s. He's like, I'm going to go to the NFL. It's like, all right, buddy, let's get our CDL. It's time to.
No more NFL for you. Let's
like
do
at this
CDL.
point, it's like, Grandma, I'm sure you're a nice lady when you're not running over children, but let's put the license up. Let's put it up.
I don't know.
At 89, like
I don't know. That's. I think most people under the age of 60 would say, yeah, there's got to be an age, because age can be a factor where the government can limit. Like technically speaking, the government should not treat anybody differently based on protected classes.
Sure.
Okay, and age is one of those. So as long as they can show,
but they're
aptitude, but
they're showing that should not be a protected class anymore.
This lady specifically will, yes, potentially lose her license for a hit and run. Like that is always a possibility for any vehicular crime here in Nevada. I don't know Wisconsin's laws. I'm going to guess that there's something. She could lose her license, maybe never get it back, because then she'd have to pass a test.
I'm looking up. There's not exact figures of how many accidents I looked up how many accidents are caused by people over 70 every year in the U.S.
But they usually drive slow, though, too. But that can be dangerous.
Even more of a problem.
That can be dangerous, but not usually as bad of accidents. So
data from the IHS HLDI shows that 5,502 people aged 70 and older died in motor vehicle crashes in 2023. Granted, that's not to say that they all caused it, but I don't know.
Right.
According to this, it's seniorliving.org says that there are obviously more senior drivers on the road than ever before. All right, whatever. It says drivers in their 30s are more likely to get into accidents than drivers over 65. Oh, I guess. Okay, so I guess people 74 and over tend to pay higher car insurance rates.
But they're private businesses, No,
but that's the writing on the wall. The insurance companies understand.
Yeah, and I guess maybe charge them more. But man, I don't know. Like my grandma, before she passed, would just drive from her house to the grocery store, from her house to the senior center where she would go.
Right, that's like my grandma now.
Library, and that she had her routes, and that was kind of it.
Yeah,
and it was roads that were not busy. This must have been by a school zone. It sounds like her cousin was right around her too. I don't know if that's because she was coming from school or something, but I don't know, man. That's heavy.
I wonder if Justin would have agreed with me on these old people driving.
100%. Yeah,
he probably would have been they should have to.
But I'm just gonna think, if I'm that old, will I want to go through a retest? Like, hey, this is not fair. I drive perfectly. I
get that.
By the time I'm that old, I'm just going to push a button. The car's going to drive itself, right?
Right. Does your car do that now, or?
No, mine. No, not mine.
Does it not have that? Is it only a Tesla thing at the moment?
No. Other vehicles definitely have self-driving features, but it's usually an upgrade, and that's not on my vehicle. So,
but you can't. Okay, so because I remember I was talking with the staff here about it. You can't be intoxicated and have it self-driving because that's still technically DUI.
That doesn't change the laws. Yeah. Nope. The laws,
even if you sit passenger, I don't know if it works if you sit passenger seat, but
how the laws are written here in Nevada is if you're driving, so driving clearly, and they find you driving, or if you're in actual physical control of the vehicle. And physical control, if you're in the driver's seat, you are in actual physical control of the vehicle, even if you're not driving. If you pull off to the side and you are parked on a public road, they find you. Because you can't just pull over and say the cop didn't see me driving.
So
I'm okay. So actual physical control.
Okay, so like let's say
They have not carved that out. Maybe they will. I don't think they will, because people could have a self-driving car and choose to not make it self-driving and then just say, oh, my car is self-driving, so
all is forgiven.
yeah, I didn't. Yeah. So I don't think the legislature would change on that.
Okay.
Is my guess, unless there's some real advancements and there's some all cars are self-driving from here on out. Nobody's allowed to drive their own vehicles, which I don't think will ever happen, because I think people like being in control and driving.
I do like driving. I do think, and I guess it's coming back to the argument of like, where will I be at 70? Well, I won't be like.
Yeah. Well, yeah. After you turn 70, you only are allowed to self-drive. I don't know. That's more of a comment on
it's like the
direction of the government.
AARP phone. You get an AARP car, and it only just has self-driving.
Yeah.
And you can only plug in coordinates.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Tesla, get with me on that, I guess.
All right. Next topic. This is definitely a tough topics, tough two cases we're going to talk about. These are two police shootings, police killings, okay, where two separate police officers in a very short period of time in Las Cruces, New Mexico, shot and killed civilians, okay?
Oh.
And I found out about these just recently, so I wanted to talk about them. The first case is of Officer Brad Lunsford. Him and another police officer were responding to a call, maybe what would be considered a normal call that, kind of changed their lives forever. It was a report that there was a stolen beer from a corner market, just like a market store, okay, a gas station. One beer.
We're talking $8. Maybe?
One beer. So, two white police officers and a black male. Okay. Mm-hmm. They're approaching a black male, seem to be a strong, fit male, is something that they're going to say is determined and why they acted the way they did.
I was in fear of my life.
The black male was a nurse, so it's not like they're making arguments that, he's
check out his SoundCloud rap career.
Yep. Nope. They can't make arguments that he's got prior history, but they came to try and talk to him, and he was abrasive. I'll agree he's a little,
correct?
Which you are allowed to be abrasive, but then the police and him got into kind of a scuffle. They were all on the ground.
Okay.
And then even the man, he was able to get one of their tasers out and was holding their tasers, but he was pinned on the ground.
Okay, so at this point, like, he's still reaching for their weapon.
He is reaching. He does at the point where he is shot. He does have the taser in his hand, although he is pinned on the ground with an officer behind him. The most egregious, and this is the fact that just like I think just changes this case. Officer Lunsford takes out his firearm, places it on the back of this guy's head, pulls the trigger.
Oh, so he executes him almost?
Ends his life. And it is akin to an execution style shooting. Yes. So that is just the worst fact, I think, and resonated with the jury. There is a cell phone video of it from the side there where you can see it, clear as day. I'm not going to include the video in here. If you want to go find it, you're welcome to go look for it. As I'm looking into this case afterwards, because there's a certain story that comes up that I'll tell you about on this case. He's been tried. He was found guilty of manslaughter, but there might be a new trial for a reason I'll tell you about. As I'm looking for things in both of these cases, I Google the guy's name just to see information. And one of the things that pops up is there's kind of groups that protect and support police officers.
Sure.
And so they tell the version of events through their side.
Oh, so
right?
they try to control the narrative.
Controlling the narrative. And it's just fascinating to me. And this is a complete, attorney thing where the prosecution paints it in one way.
Yeah.
And if you were to only hear that, you'd say this guy is a murderer and a bad person and all this. But then if you read it through kind of the police narrative, you'll say, man, he was just trying to do his job. And then he was just trying to protect his partner.
But that's why you need to hear all sides.
And that is why it's important and not why I try not to pin myself to any side. I want to know all the facts. The people that got to hear the entire case were the jury of his peers who found him guilty of manslaughter. The details and the imagery of it, of course, I'm surprised I hadn't heard about this one because it's a white cop
2022,
shooting a black man, not necessarily unarmed at that point, has a taser. He can't be tasing two officers at the same time.
But also because now,
that is a danger. I'll agree.
Yeah,
it is a danger.
Where does it, because my thought is okay, so who's to blame? Obviously, the officer still shot him. At the end of the day, he still shot him. There's no doubt around that. He did also grab the cop's taser, which I understand is now an escalation.
Well, he kind of grabbed it in the scuffle. So do we know it's an intentional grabbing of it, or is he just trying to grab onto
something just to brace himself?
Yeah, to kind of that's a question. If you want to stop and watch any of this video,
I'm looking at screenshots of it. I'm kind of getting the gist of it.
And so, in a world before cell phones, what would have been the story versus what we see from the video now is just an incredibly interesting aspect to me that we dog and talk about everybody, always being on their phone, sometimes only as a bad thing. But
cases like this,
it gives us a more complete picture of what really happened. Obviously, the entry wound and exit wound would tell us about where the bullet, was on his head, but he does place it. He just places the gun right on the back of his head. It just looks like an execution style. And I think that that's a difficult thing to overcome. I think that is the change that maybe.
Because if he shot him from a foot or two away and was like, hey, I didn't know what he was going to do, then I could, okay, sure. It's still an officer involved shooting. It still doesn't look good, but it doesn't have as much of a sting to it as this, where it's almost premeditated at that point where he's like, I'm going to put this against the back of your head and then fire.
So just a quick rundown. Sometimes it is the counties who become the prosecutors of cases. And sometimes in certain situations, the state attorney general will come in and prosecute cases. So in this specific instance, because usually the local police department works so closely with the local prosecutor's office, there's kind of a conflict, or it just doesn't feel good for both to be kind of fighting against each other and pitted against each other when they have to work together on other cases. So this is one of the instances where, they say, hey, attorney general, you're going to have to make a decision. And of course, the attorney general is a Democrat. So some people are saying, this evil Democratic attorney general is coming after our good-natured policemen who are just trying to do their job.
Held a gun to the back of his head and fired.
People are, painted in this way. But it is an absolutely normal thing for an attorney general to come in on the outside and prosecute these kind of cases, because a little bit more messy for the county to get involved. They say, hey, this is politicized. This is a political stunt.
Yeah. What the CIA did in the 80s is paying mad dividends today. What they did back in the 70s and 80s is still paying today.
Well, New Mexico's makeup is different because they have so many natives, like Native Americans,
Hispanics. Yep.
So they're a little different mix than a lot of other states. New Mexico, I think, has the most Native Americans of any state.
I think it's there, and then Arizona is.
Arizona, yeah.
I have a lot of Native friends from Arizona.
So the political makeup, they're a Democrat state. New Mexico has always been left leaning for years. So
because isn't it right leaning now?
New Mexico?
Yeah.
I don't think they voted red in years in presidential elections, but correct me if I'm wrong. So in the case of Brad Lunsford, the case gets reviewed. They petition for a new trial based on the fact that they did a little digging into one of the jurors, and jurors are asked questions, before they are placed onto a jury. One of them, in a case of a police shooting, would be, how do you feel about cops? Okay? Sometimes it's an open-ended question. How do you feel about cops?
Right.
Do you have negative opinions about police officers? Do you have negative opinions about the police force? Do you have feelings about police acting wrongfully? And that
and so you're doing that to see, as a prosecutor, to go your favor on the jury, and then as a defense attorney to go your favor.
Yep. So the defendant's entitled to a neutral jury. The prosecution's entitled to a neutral jury. Okay. One of the jurors remained silent, didn't answer any questions about that. Turns out they Googled this juror after the fact, and they find that this juror regularly had blog posts and had appeared on podcasts talking about their opinions on police brutality, police shootings, kind of police corruption, police wrong acts. Okay.
But in the jury questionnaire, they said that they acted neutral.
So typically it depends on how it's conducted, because it can be conducted all sorts of ways. Sometimes it's just the judge. In this instance, it looked like there were just questions. Do any of you have strong feelings? And sometimes they open it up. Sometimes it's specific. They'll go 1 through 12, 1 through whoever it is, and ask them, do you have any strong feelings? No. Do you have any strong feelings? And sometimes it's a blanket question. Does anyone have any strong feelings about police brutality? And then you raise your hand. You're required to raise your hand. And so maybe 3 of them will raise their hand. Maybe nobody will. So it depends on how it's conducted. It can be conducted in different ways.
Gotcha.
And everybody is under oath, and they're supposed to tell the truth. And we've seen rare cases, but you can be prosecuted if you are to lie in voir dire.
Because is it under oath?
It is under oath.
Okay.
Yes, you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth. And so we saw in the Curtis Flowers case. Curtis Flowers was one out of in Mississippi or Alabama where he was tried 8 times.
Yes.
And then finally, after years and years, they decided that they weren't going to prosecute him anymore. Free man after 20, 30 years, something like that.
At that point, what does it mean?
One of the jurors did not mention that they knew one of the people involved in the case. It's a small town where everybody kind of knew each other.
Yeah.
So they were threatening to prosecute him. And then he was eventually not prosecuted. I think didn't have any criminal charges. But it is a possibility that you can be prosecuted for not being honest. Silence, I guess, not answering the question in an affirmative. If it is where it's, hey, he didn't raise his hand, completely different. So as of right now, Brad Lunsford is going to be having a new trial. Okay,
because of this juror.
Because of this juror, the judge determined, you know what? Yeah, this was wrong. We're going to have a new jury. You're entitled to a new trial. And the state has said, yep, we're proceeding. We're going to try him again.
Dang, and then
we are prosecuting this case.
Goes 0-2.
One more time. So he was guilty. People are, surmising or believing maybe this one juror had an agenda. That's why he wanted to stay on the jury. Had heard about this case. Had been randomly called down to it. I don't think that there's anybody saying that, it's anything but random. But yeah. And then within 2 weeks of this video being released, and it looked to me like it was the same day. I don't know if that's on purpose. So then if people are talking about a police shooting somebody, they're not thinking it's 2 separate instances, so the word doesn't get as much popularity. Police officer named Felipe Hernandez was another police officer who had approached a lady who was in her vehicle. She was a little abrasive, I'd say, didn't want to participate, but she was being accused of trespassing, and there was no real evidence of trespassing. But if a policeman detains you,
Wait, this is the guy? Is that the cop?
Yeah, it is the cop.
I would put up a fight.
Yeah.
I know I could beat him.
Okay, so what happens is the woman disregards him, starts driving away.
I would too. Look at him.
And then he shot at the vehicle and killed her
So it's just cops jumping to the most
as she's driving away. Yeah, and I didn't see as much defense of this one, because he's shooting a car that's running away, driving away.
Defense on the cop's end?
On the cop's end, yes.
I feel like on both ends, there's really no... I mean, like, sure, I guess it becomes a little muddy with that first one, but this one is like, dude, you... What? Like...
Power tripping.
Yeah, like...
This is one where people would be in the comments saying...
great YouTube content for for those body cam footages
he's
of
power
chasing.
tripping. So, this is another story that came out just stacked with the other one.
Same department?
Yes. Las Cruces Police. So same thing comes out right around October. He was just found guilty of manslaughter, not murder. October 2025, so very recent.
Okay.
The woman's name, the decedent, her name is Terry Gomez, who was shot and dead. She was a mother of like 4 or 5 as well.
Oh no.
So completely sad story.
Yeah.
There weren't as many details as this one. This one wasn't as newsworthy. They let this guy
be a cop?
Yeah, and he's a bike cop. He did not go render aid to her afterward either.
That's even worse. Because I feel like if you render aid as a cop, you're like, hey, I know I shot you, but like I still want the best for you in this situation.
After he shot at her, he went and got his flashlight and his bike instead of rendering aid to her. So I don't know why this one wasn't specifically murder. There wasn't.
Yeah, because they charged him with second degree. Like, wouldn't that be first? Or is first premeditated?
First is premeditated.
This is just, he was reacting on instinct.
So second, most states don't have a third degree. They're very rare that they do.
Okay, so it's either premeditated or
usually,
not premeditated.
Yeah, first premeditated,
okay.
Second, and then the lesser charge, manslaughter, which is usually included that they can find them being guilty of as well. So, right. He's facing up to 11 years. It didn't look like he had been sentenced just yet, but the timing with both of these was just incredibly interesting. This police force is going to, be going through an overhaul.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then attempting to use the toxicology that she was inebriated and somehow as part of it. Like there's a lot that goes into a trial.
Any way to get out of it.
There are so many things that go into a trial. In one of these two, they were questioning whether the police officer had been accepted into other police forces where he had applied, and that speaks to his character. And I'm just like,
so this goes back to that first,
so interesting,
that Green Valley case we were talking about, where you want to get to talk to your defendant because there might be you might be able to be like, hey, we could actually maybe try to spin it this way and get you a lesser charge or something, or
yeah. And it doesn't have to all be decided that day. The first thing you want to do is just address custody status and bail amounts. Mm-hmm. And then how are we going to fight this case? Like, what do you got for me? Are there any witnesses? Like, what do we got?
Okay.
Who I don't know in his specific case, who's involved, who could say, what the relationship was like.
Right.
I never want to say this, but in a sex assault case, you got to say, is this consensual? He's gonna have to try and say that this was a consensual relationship. Okay.
Right.
And not any forced text messages. People just have their text messages still on their phone after years that show crimes.
Everything.
And it's just like, man, you guys are leaving evidence of stuff.
Now, as an attorney, do you take, because I know you just got a new phone, did you take your old phone and like drop it in like Lake Mead?
No, I erased it. I mean, I traded it in for money. They gave me a trade-in for money
for your new phone, towards your new phone.
Yeah.
I mean, I always try, like, because I've sold old phones and stuff, and like I always make sure in laptops, and I'll make sure to like clear it. But I guess people just don't do that. Well, I guess.
Well, he still has his phone. He doesn't know. Like they don't announce, hey, buddy, guess what?
We're going to come arrest you.
We're actually going to come arrest you. Like, when's convenient for you? Like, have you destroyed enough evidence yet? All right. Well, then I guess we'll be there after that. They don't notify him. He obviously thinks he's scot-free. He's not trying to hide or anything. So,
yeah.
I don't know if he knew that this girl was pregnant. you looked up if she lost the child or not. I don't.
Yeah, that at least 2 days ago, that's what they were saying, is that she believes she had a miscarriage with it.
Like actively, or
that's all they said. That's all they said. All I know
we'll
is
figure out more later.
It's crazy either way. But so this cop was charged with manslaughter and facing 11 years.
He was convicted of manslaughter.
He
was charged. Yes, the jury found
charged of second-degree murder, but then convicted of
manslaughter.
That's the difference.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So the jury usually gets a choice. Okay, they're presented with the options. These are the elements for murder. You've heard all the facts. These are the elements of manslaughter. Okay, and it's kind of crazy sometimes. All they do is check boxes, and then sometimes from a jury they check the wrong boxes.
Oh.
I know. So you got to bring them back and ask them, hey, what did you guys mean to check? Oh, well, we thought it was this. So part of preparing for a trial is preparing this jury verdict form where it's very easy. And sometimes it's if you answered yes to question 1, go to question 2.
Or if you answered no, go to question 3.
If you answered no, skipped it. And sometimes you don't get it filled out right. So are they guilty of murder? Yes or no? Okay. If no, go to question, or if yes, end. Like you don't have to end anything else. You don't have to say if they're guilty of manslaughter, if they're guilty of murder, right? Murder's a greater charge.
Right.
If not guilty of murder, are they guilty of manslaughter? And sometimes people think that there's some psychology to say, well, we asked for this, but if you won't give us this, at least give us this, this lesser thing. And there's a psychology aspect too. Well, I don't want to do this big old thing for you, but I'll do this smaller thing for you. Okay. So that's not how it should be as a jury. You should, identify each on their own independently.
Right.
Are they guilty of murder? No. Okay.
But they are guilty of sex assault.
Are they guilty of this, charge, independent of whether they're a bad person or not? Are they guilty of this?
Right.
Have all the elements been met beyond a reasonable doubt with clear and convincing evidence?
But also, a lot of people don't want to be there.
And a lot of people don't want to be there. And even if you have feelings, you might just go with the crowd. That's what we're always worried about. Is
12 Angry Men, the movie?
Yep, 12 Angry Men, the movie. So just sad cases for me.
Don't go to Las Cruces, I guess.
Las Cruces, New Mexico, I guess.
Just don't go there.
Yeah, seriously.
If you're a civilian.
It's extremely sad. Like, we have bad cases here, too. Like, the high school I went to, we see, there's a case like that.
But
and somebody will say, nobody should ever go to Green Valley High School. I'm like, well,
actually, Green Valley's pretty nice. Just don't go to the theater program.
No.
Well, actually, now you can. Now it's probably safe because he's been removed from their website.
Well, oh gosh.
Because even if he beats it, he's probably
still. There's no way he's ever getting hired again.
Yeah, because he's just so much baggage with that.
And that's why he's feeling
about his mental health. Yeah.
What is it? Self-harm. Unaliving.
Self-unaliving.
Unaliving. Can't say suicidal. How do you? Yeah, I don't know. What's our listener question for this week, Austin?
I have one because I didn't get a chance to write it, but we've talked about it before, but I want to really break it down because we have Luigi Mangione, who still has, as far as I know, has not been convicted of anything, correct?
I think he was on for a hearing this week they filed a motion about some kind of evidence.
Okay.
And
this isn't about
excluding
his
evidence?
Specific case, but what his case could be, which is the death penalty. Why does it take so long? And we've kind of talked about it before on previous episodes, but let's say I get convicted today and they're because the judge can do, is it the jury can do death penalty or the judge?
Only a jury.
Okay, so the jury
Only a jury can decide to end your life.
It was so egregious and I'm getting the death penalty. Everybody agrees, whatever. How come it'll be 10, 15 years before that happens?
Before the execution happens?
Yeah.
You can't undo a death penalty, right?
Sure.
You can't undo unaliving someone. It is a permanent thing.
Yeah.
And we as a society fight about whether or not the death penalty is appropriate. Maybe just even the threat of the death penalty being there is enough for some people.
Right.
Maybe it does nothing. There aren't clear studies on that. I don't think any death penalty proponents I haven't heard anybody that's they're a single issue voter on the death penalty.
Yeah.
There's so many issues in politics and how to run this country that may be more interesting and more important to somebody than the death penalty.
Right.
So I agree with this. I don't know that I'm for it or against. I guess I haven't studied it out and
Sure.
seen what it implies or what it means, but you can't undo it. And the Supreme Court has decided, and I think this is a reflection of society, it is an extreme penalty.
Sure.
That is extremely serious enough that only a jury can decide it, not just a judge. A judge could give you life, they can give you life. But death penalty is so serious. Some countries don't even allow it anymore.
Right. It's just so much of an extreme thing that. So
we value life. We value life. That is the one thing. That's why murder is so serious, because we value life so much. So if it is a deserved penalty, is a question we just want to make sure that the process isn't rushed through, because we had lynchings. Like, we have a country with a history of lynchings. Happened in other countries too, but we have that, and we see that as such an injustice. The picture of 12-year-old, 13-year-old Emmett Till, who is put to death for a crime that it seems like he didn't even commit. Right. So I think we've just kind of looped around the other way, where let's
be more precautious.
Let's make sure that this is the right person. They've had their right to appeals. They've exhausted everything. And then we have cases we've talked about where somebody's pending death penalty, and there's a lot of voices saying, we don't think he did it. Prosecutor's office saying, we're not sure that this guy did it, who we convicted 20 years ago based on new evidence. So
what if, now, because I looked it up, and the shortest time on death row was 252 days. And it's because of this guy, Joe Gonzalez, in 1996, and he just waived his appeals.
Oh.
So he waived it. So that's the shortest amount of time.
Okay.
What if do you think it would be even quicker if there was and maybe this is where we're heading with AI and all that, where it's sure, there's still a jury that decides it, but there's just so much evidence that shows exactly that it was you who did this. And there's no way to, I guess there's no question about you doing it. We have just
it's on video, it's admitted.
It's on video with these cameras, so it's not on CCTV, so you can't be that might be him, it might not be him.
I mean, the problem is that people who are anti-death penalty believe that these people aren't in their right minds if they're agreeing to the death penalty either.
Okay, so what about the guy, the influencer who shot the other influencer on the strip, who clearly showed he was very premeditated about it on his live stream, and then went up and shot him?
I haven't heard as much about this case. Are they? Okay. It's active now. I think it's still going. They're prosecuting the case. Trial possible within the next couple of years. These cases take a while to get to trial.
But that though, where it's there's video evidence on two different fronts of you saying to your phone, "I'm going to go kill this guy."
We are not quick. Not quick on the death penalty here in Nevada. It's been years and years since the last person was executed. I don't think we're a good example. More conservative states in the South,
Texas, Georgia, Alabama.
You might see something run a little quicker, but most states have a right to appeals, and appeals take a long time.
Right.
They don't get pushed to the front of the list for reasons. So executions are usually stayed. When somebody's about to be executed, sometimes voices come out and push back on it, and innocence projects across the country look at these things and look at the schedule of who's going to get executed next and start filing briefs and emergency petitions and, all sorts of things to halt it. And so sometimes in a lot of states, it's just an automatic, yep, we got to pause it. But some of them are, too late. We talked about one, and
we were recording the show the day of, and then we came back, we're they did it.
Yep, the guy had been executed by the time, we ended recording. It always takes time, though. It's the review process. Just let's make sure there's not going to be evidence 30 years down the road, because that happens. Happens on cases. Hey, we have new DNA evidence that actually, this guy didn't even do it.
Okay, so I guess maybe we've just never had a situation like that strip shooting where there's just undeniable evidence that he premeditatedly went and did this.
Yeah, and
I guess that'll be a one we'll have to keep an eye on.
Prosecution probably seeking death penalty on that case, I would guess.
I just want to see real quick.
And usually it's multiple victims. It's usually not one victim, so maybe not.
It was double. Oh no, because he killed two people. He killed a couple.
Oh wow.
Sin City Manny. It's outside the Bellagio. Nice.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, because I remember we talked about it on a few of the shows that I help with. Yeah, okay, so this was August 1st, though, so it's been a minute. It said may face death penalty. So I think at that time they were still trying to decide if they were going to pursue it.
I mean, that's a big decision.
But we do have it here in Nevada.
We do have it here in Nevada.
It's been a while, though.
Yeah. I can't remember when the last one was that they saw it or even were trying to enforce, but it's been a while.
All right. Well, the reason why I asked that is because I know everybody's like, with Luigi Mangione potentially facing it, with this guy potentially facing it. I know, and I guess maybe this just speaks to how messed up some people are. You know, like with the comments that we try not to read, but do read. People are like, well, why,
Execute him. Just
do it on like the Green Valley High School. They're like, they should just take him out back right now.
Yeah. That's a common, like everybody, even if you don't like their crimes, has a right to a trial. And trials are sometimes messy and tough for victims too, but our Constitution guarantees it. So I'm going to stand that everybody has a right to have their day in court and trial. And you might be punished more for it if you go to trial. And that just might be that might just be the reality of things. If you're forcing this to happen, we're going to hold you to what you are making happen. So, you have a right, guilty or innocent until proven guilty, except for in the court of public opinion. Everybody wants to take this guy out back already.
The world we live in now, everybody gets an opinion.
Yeah, and then at the same time, people don't trust cops too. But if you have this overwhelming evidence, like it looks bad for the guy. It looks bad. Sometimes there's, explanations of what really happened, and maybe it's not what it looks like. There is a world where a victim could concoct, DNA and.
Sure.
I'm not saying that happened. I don't know.
We don't know anything. We don't know enough yet to make any decisions like that. But
there have been insane stories all over the world, about things that possibly could have happened. So let's wait.
Yeah, I'm not saying let's sentence that guy to death. I'm just saying that's what people are already saying, though, in the comments.
And listen, if he did this as a teacher, like, this is disgusting. Like, this is gross. This is
inexcusable.
This changes this girl's life for forever. What you've done to her. So, if it is all true, deserves the punishment that.
Which maybe
very
we'll
likely
see
coming to him.
What, like 3 years by the time trial happens?
Yeah, I don't know. And sometimes these things take a while. But hey, thanks for listening to another tough topics today of Tangled Rights. As always, we try to tackle them and, kind of weave people through to know the legalities of things, because the news is kind of sketchy on some things. But all right, take care. If you have any questions, give us a call. Peace.
Not a lawyer.